Well, hello and welcome back to the grind. It's me, Shadows. Yeah, there you are. You can see me now. Anyway, here we are with the 1989 Dodge w100, right? Two-wheel drive, six-cylinder V6 injected motor, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, this week was all about floors. I'm over on this side now, and you can see it's all cut up. But on the other side, I'll go around the other side. And so we did lots of works on the floors, and I got this side here, the passenger side, completed, including putting the new body mount in place down there. And I gave it like a coat of paint, and this is all the floor that I've welded on. Plus, underneath there's lots and lots of work on the inner rocker panel. Then for a little bit this week, we had one day I had a visitor here. Don was here, and he lives up west of here, and came down and was interested in what I'm doing. Saw me on YouTube, and it was fun to spend a day with him. And he helped an awful lot with filming that day. So what the hell, eh? Good time. Anyhow, stick around and see everything I did. Lots of work on weld. So enjoy it all, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Okay, back on the Dodge. Well, been away for a few days. Get started again. Now, got the welder here. I've got the truck here, and I've got these new motor mount things that came along. So for the front mount, you use this one on top, and it goes through the body mount, and then this one on the bottom. And it says to reuse this steel shaft on it. Oh dear. I wonder if I can get that apart, or I wonder if I can figure that out. Yeah, so I thought I was set up for an impossible task, but there it is off. This part here, this is the bolt that was rusted into it pretty good. So I just used some heat, and then I got it to move one way a little bit, then I cut the top off the nut, off the bolt, and pushed it back through the other way so it wouldn't have to fight so hard to get through. Hey, how do you like that? Anyway, that's done, and then I'll see if I can put the new motor mount on it. This is what I use for heat. Yeah, so I keep telling myself it's not a motor mount, it's a cab mount. So maybe I'll keep that straight somehow. Not likely, hey? Yeah, so near as I can tell, this is how it has to be. Can you see all this? Wait a second. I'll split it apart a bit. So there's a washer at the end here, then the number 4093, I think it is. And then that sleeve is in the middle there. Can you see the sleeve? Not really. There's a sleeve there in the middle. And then this all goes over it with the body in between, and this washer at the top, and then up into that bolt thing that I made. Okay, let's see if I can make it go in the car. Oh, that light's right in your eyes, eh? Wait a minute. Maybe I can. Well, there. I try that. Okay, so I've got this power thing, right? And I lifted it up, and I got the old one out. And somehow I don't think there's supposed to be that large a hole there. I think that's kind of rusted out, so I'll have to put a new plate in here and then drill the proper sized hole, because it should take a hole. Wait a minute, how do I get up here? Up and down and upside down. There's the top thing out of it. Should take a hole in that big enough for this, so that just rusted away all the old metal there. Interesting. How do you like that, eh? Yeah. Okay, now down here, that big hole there shouldn't be there like that, but I built a little piece here that I'm going to weld. I'll clean this up, weld that in, like it's just a piece of metal with one of those big washers on it that'll sort of fills that hole. And I'm going to fill around here with weld and grind it off as best I can, so that the motor mount sits on there nice. Or not, motor mount cab mount sits on there. And then this hole here, it's not that round, but it does fit the protrusion on the cab mount thing. So I'll show you how to, as I go along, what I get done. Interesting. Okay, that's a little bit better up there, eh? And then this part, oh, where is it? Way over there. I'll show you. I'll show you after. I'll get it grinded down flat here, I hope, and then I'll show you how that looks on the other side there. That should be all right. Yeah, not the prettiest thing in the world, but I think it's pretty good now, and more than solid enough, I'm sure. So this part here, this bit here goes in here like that and drops down into that hole. Yep. Whoops. Sorry. That drops down into that hole. This bit here goes on top of it like that. And I might have to go up a tiny bit more if I can, just to make that slide in smooth, and then I'll put a bolt through there and just get that centered up a bit, and then I'll drop the motor on it, or drop this down. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, there's that. I don't know, can you see that? Get some light up here. There, so that just sits in there like that, right? And then it's the weight of the truck is on it again, and I'll put the bolt through from this side with this part of it here. Hang on. Oh, there it is, on there and taken down. That's cab mount number 1. There's a cab mount back there that I can change. I'm not going to get too rushed. I'm going to change this one and that one. I'll get to those ones down at the back there later. They don't, well, they're all wore out likely, but they're not all gone yet. Not so much rust back there. Well, famous last words. We'll see. Anyhow, I'll carry on. Time to put a floor in it. Then we'll tackle the other side. Okay, there's what it looks like from above. Now, this has got lots of drainage out of here, but down here there's very little drainage. So I think I better drill a hole right down to the bottom of that so that water can escape down there. Otherwise, it'll be just rusted off right away. Okay, I'll do that. Well, there's the first bit in there, and weld it up around. And you can get into that thing there. And I think I have the rubber bit left somewhere. Yeah, so I'm going to see if I can make my life a little bit easier here. I'm going to take this piece here and put that in. Then I'll put that piece in last. Because, you see how this, I don't know if you can see this. See, there's a lip here. It comes up. But over here, it transitions to a 0. Like it comes to the same level. Same level here as the floor. So that'll be the same level there as the floor. And then here it's about a, a little lip up there. So little lip up there. So I'll just make that one piece and see if I can get this end of it right. Then I'll also put it in these, should be like a hoopy thing here. A hoopy thing goes to about here. And then a hoopy thing here. Just for that long. So see what I can do about making that piece. That'll give it a bit of strength in there. Then I'll worry about that last little piece and that piece over there, of course. Yeah, just by hook and by crook it fit. That's okay. Now, there's that, like here, you see this end of it here? And then this end here goes down to sort of flat to meet there. Then those lines are sort of where the, where the beads go. Can you see you can see that bead there. So I'll do them tomorrow. That's enough for today. It's past quitting time. See you later. Yeah, so here's my little, what do you call this thing? That would be, for bending metal, making die bender, or anyhow. but I'll make this part here creates a divot in there, in that. And so now this is like a thing from Princess Auto, but I put on this plate at the back of it just to make it so it doesn't wiggle back and forth as much. If you want to see a really good conversion of this tool to make it electric and everything, go watch Fitzy, and he takes one of these and makes it into an electric tool, and it works really quite nicely. But I don't use it very often, so I'll just live with what I have here. Yeah, so here I go. I wonder if that's pointing right. Yeah, close. So I've got those lines marked on there, so I'll just make one line along here and one line along there, just to make a little bit of it'll make it stronger. Helps if you count how many turns, right? Lost count though. 2.5 or 3. And all you do is roll it in as far as you want to go. Just a bit tighter. And you can make it a bit wider if you just do another turn on it, eh? But I'm not going to. Now right here, I want to turn it. Oops. Go this way. That's pretty close enough. And I want to go back down the same amount, right? Now this stretches the material in here, so you gotta, we'll take it and unstretch it on the anvil, just make it so it's flat. But also adds strength to the to it all. Whoops, not exactly straight, but good enough. Good enough for what I want here. Okay, now I'll go over on the anvil over there and just pound it straight a bit. Yeah, so that tool just hangs on the wall there. It's a heavy thing, and all the dies are up here in there. They all fell off there a minute ago. When I was trying to get it down, it got hooked in the, could have been watching, got hooked in this thing here, pulled this down, pulled that down, all hit the floor. I think I found them all. Who knows? Yeah, it's nice and sunny and reasonably warm today, and I can have that open. So this fits right in here like this, and that seems to fit pretty close enough for me, eh? And we'll just get that welded in there a little bit. Might have to do a bit of trimming over here, but otherwise, and I have to put some plug holes along here somehow. So plug holes along this, a couple of plug holes here if I can, and then that'll get it all down to on there. Yeah, there, I've got that tacked here and here, and you see here it's too tight to that edge there, and a little bit tight to this edge here, but otherwise I'm fairly happy. And then these plug holes that I made are way off, so I'll just do that one, then I'll fill in these plug holes later and attach it to the other piece and plug that down. Okay? Okay, now what do I have to do? I have to just do a bit of grinding, a bit of with the wheel in here, maybe a bit there, maybe I'll leave that for a bit yet. Don't know. Okay, I'll show you. Hang on. See if I can put this so it doesn't get wrecked. Okay? Is that anywhere close? Maybe. Okay. Here I come. Not so fast. Have to plug it in. There, now that'll sit down in there. First off, I'll get this end here. Well, I'll get this thing here done. Then I'll move over and do this bit. Okay, hang on. You want to watch? Might as well be there. Okay. Okay, so I put my jack in underneath there to hold that up so I can weld. I'll weld it here and then I'll let the jack down and see how this lines up then. Gonna let the jack down. Yeah, here's the thing I have there. It's one of the power things, right? I'll just let that down, see what happens. Heavy duty that shirt is. Oh, look at that, that just came out nice up here now. That fits nice. Okay, let's get it welded up and we'll weld it around a circle and that'd be good. Yeah, that looks like it's okay. Yeah, there it is. Now it's all welded up. A little bit of a lump here, but I'm not too worried about it. Maybe a bit more welding right in there. But it seems to come together pretty nice, and it's got that, whatever this stuff is, the hoopy stuff in there. Not as big, not as deep as that is, but that's okay. Now I need a piece, put a piece here, I need to put a piece over there, and I'm done with this side of the floor, right? How do you like that? Yeah, so this, like the wall narrows in here, I just put a straight edge along here. That gives it kind of the angle to go on. Should be maybe a bit steeper out there, but I'll trim that up as I go. Yeah, there, that'll fit pretty good, I guess. Now I'll see if I can get a bit of a bend on it that make this so I can get some plug holes on here, perhaps. But I'm gonna leave it. See, it's a bit longer up here, and I don't think that I'm gonna leave it like that because more hard metal up here. I'll just attach it with a lap weld here. Then that'll be all good and solid in there. Okay. Yeah, so a coat of paint for the back of it, just because. Then it's not painted on the front yet. Yeah, that's all welded in. Now you can see the zone of heat there, about a ½ inch on each side, so that says to me it's pretty good and lots of penetration, so it'll be fine. Now I'll get that part done. I'll just grind this up and take the tops off that, and then I'll tackle that part, and then I think we're done with this side of the floor. Yeah, so I started here and just blew through all this stuff here, even at low heat. So I'm gonna have to peel this off of here and try it again with a different, like I'll cut it back to about here somewhere, I guess. Hard to say where. Okay, so I had to put in an extra piece here because it was just blowing through, and that worked out okay. I had to chase a little bit of a blow through right there and chased a bit right there, but mostly it was okay. And that feels pretty nice and solid now. So I'm just going to go over it. I went over it with, like I sanded it off or grinded it off as best, like that's still pretty rusty there. Grinded it off reasonably well. And then I went over it with panel prep, which is commonly known as Windex, right? And I've got this color here, which I bought for another purpose. It's that blue right there, the metallic. I'm just going to paint this floor with that, and it's pretty close to, whoops, where am I? Yeah, pretty close to that color, isn't it? No. Anyway, that's what color the floor is going to be. It's been black before, and it's been blue before. I think from the factory it was blue. Somehow the truck says it's red on the registration, but everything is blue. So who knows, hey? Yeah, there's one coat. Anybody who really wants to know, I did put on a mask for this bit because that stuff stinks. Anyhow, one coat. I'll give it 20 minutes and I'll put another coat on there and then leave it overnight. Ah, there we go. That's 2 coats of that blue stuff on there. That's actually not a bad color either. So anyway, but the I'll do the other side of the floor with the same color. I got 2 cans. I have 2 cans of it, and it looks like I'm getting better at, like, maybe somewhere along the line I learned how to weld, because that stuff's not bad. Okay, enough for today. Lights out. See you later. Okay, here I am. This is back on onto the Dodge w100. What lives in there? That's supposed to stay up by itself, but it doesn't. A couple of leaves. Anyway, we'll clean that out right away. Okay, I'm going to take off the what do you call that thing? The floor mat, and pull it out of there, and then turn it out and put the power washer on it and clean up the back side of it. That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it? Then I'll start work on that side over there. Okay. Yeah, now this looks similar to the other side. Except somebody's done some work in here before, and I think I'm going to have to dismantle that. It looks like they used like a plate of steel and just, I'll have to take this off of here where there's not much holding it. But I think that looks a bit better than the other side, but maybe not. We'll just see. Okay, time to go to work. First off, I just was able to fold the mat from the back and push it down, pull it all out. So I'll do some power spraying on this and see how that goes. Yeah, YouTube loves power spray for some reason, don't know why. We'll do it. Yeah, I thought more of that rust staining would come out of it, but apparently that's in there forever. So that'll be fine. I'll let them dry, and then they'll look good when they go back into the truck, perhaps. We'll see. Anyway, now back to real life, eh? Real life is in the way here. I'll have to move my table over here somewhere. Okay, first I'll get the vacuum cleaner and clean this out. Then we'll evaluate what I have to do. All this old wiring here, that's stuff that was going to the radio, I think, for speakers and stuff. I don't know. But I think I'll just clip them and they'll be gone. Yeah, so now I guess I'll clean it out. I've got the what do you call that? I've got the wire. This wire goes and looks after all the stuff at the back end of the car. I don't know for sure what, but lights, stuff like that, because there's other wires that come in. I don't know where that wire goes. Somewhere down there. Maybe it just goes up to that and does that light and that light there, perhaps. We don't know. Anyway, that being said, I'll clean up all this stuff here and give it a vacuum and see what it looks like, and then I'll hit it with the needle scaler. So this is something that the other guys put in. This is also something the other guys put in. Like it's just brazed on and it's just tacked in a couple of spots. And this is they've got it welded on here, but yeah, pretty scary. But anyhow, whatever it takes to get it past inspection, that's what it is. Okay, let's go to work. Hey, the good news is I found a dime. I ought to pay for everything here. I'll have to be more careful when I'm vacuuming. And a couple of spiders. What the hell? Okay, I'll shut you off here. Carry on. That's all. That thing, right? Yeah, looks like same idea as what was on the other side. This part here, like there's a couple of screws up high here that I can't really get to. So, how can I get that off of there? I don't know. I'll work on it. Might have to take some of this stuff out. I don't really want to do that. All the things you don't want to do, right? Anyway, I'll see if I can get something in there to take those screws out. It might be a tedious affair, but I'll work at it. Yeah, did I mention it was going to be tedious to get this thing out of there? It's got these 4 bolts, these 2 here, easy to reach there on the bottom, or these 2 are on the bottom. These 2 are just hidden way up in there. And then it's got this piece in here, which was actually part of that, because I had to break it off to get it out of there. Anyway, we'll see about getting it back together later. But for now, that's open and clear, so I can do work there. Well, we'll see. Yeah, so I got those screws out with this contraption here, which is just Phillips thing, you know, like that fits in one of those screwdrivers, but it also happens to fit pretty good into a quarter inch wrench. And then I put a bit of paper towel on there to hold it in tight so it doesn't fall out every time, and hooked on an extra long handle and was able to reach in there to get them. Anyway, I'll get them back in the same way later. Yeah, so this sheet here was put on. I think all that stuff over there is good in this case because nothing went through with the needle scaler. So I just have to worry about this section of the floor and the structure underneath, which is right now kind of shaky. I'll show you if I can get underneath here. Where's my light? Here's the light. Okay, I'm underneath, right? We're both underneath. Oh, we're all underneath. Okay, let me just get a light here. So this part here, you see right here, that was put in by the previous group. And it's welded along there, eh? So it's likely reasonably solid. But I have to get into here, and the easiest way is to just take the floor off, and because that floor is, see, this is where their bit of metal is on there, and it's all just sort of patched together. Oh, was I pointing the wrong way? I don't know. But that's the new metal up the top there, and we'll go along here, and this is new metal also. But I think I'll get all this stuff out of here and then start again. So same over here, they've got new metal there, and it looks not too bad, except over this side it's not too great. I'll bring the needle scaler underneath here and give it a roll, right? Okay, I'll do that next. Yeah, so this is all full of old rusty material here, or dirt, rust and dirt and mud and yuck. I'll put it in there, then I'll vacuum out the rest of it. Then we'll see what's underneath here. This is the thing they had built in there, but it was actually pretty strong, so got to give them kudos for that. But it just, that's just a rust bucket in there. Got to be cleaned out. This along here too, and way up here, you can see through right there. So it's got to be cut back and over there a bit. That little bit's okay. Maybe not though, because all this whole edge bit is screwy. All right, well, we'll just get at it. Yeah, I guess you'd call that a fairly big gaping hole, right? I got rid of all the previous stuff. I'm gonna go needle scale this a bit and then get figured out what to do about this, because that's part of this structure here. Might be able to just put a little piece in there and make it come down to here. Part of this is okay, part of it's not okay, and it's got to get down to hooking onto this thing here, and got to get rid of all this old rusty stuff along here. Oh, okay, well, and then I'll get the motor mount out of it. Same method I did the other one. See what happens. Yeah, again, body mount. That's the body mount there. Yeah, so that body mount is off. Well, sort of off. Haven't got the rubber bits out yet, but I'll work on that now. Just pry them out with a screwdriver, I hope. Yeah, so I think it's pretty close to quitting time. What happened here? So down in here, I've got all that bad stuff taken out, a little bit to clean up, and then start putting some structure back into it. This I think has to go, but later. Then, and over here I've got to rebuild this little bit in here as best I can. Then on the back here, I took it apart. I got all those spot welds, brazed spot welds out of there, and got back to what the original metal looked like. Maybe I can sort of cut that up to make it look better. We'll see what happens with that. That'll be a tomorrow thing. Oh, there we go. And here's where the seatbelt holder, which is mostly all right. I'll take it out of there and have a look, because there's a little bit of, yeah, there's a couple of places where it's no good, but maybe I can fix that up. We'll worry about that tomorrow also. Anyhow, enough for today. See ya tomorrow. Okay, here I am back at the grinder with the drills, right? So now I watched Wes work on the TV last night, and he actually does a nice job of showing how to make these things sharp, better than I do. So I'll show you what I learned. First off, you have to take this and make the cutting edge right on both of these. The 30 degrees is correct, so you just lay it on here at that angle. With a light pressure until you see sparks coming off this edge. Not quite yet. See, it's still got a bit more to go to make a real sharp edge, but that's pretty close. I've got it now. Nice sharp edge there. And a nice sharp edge there. Then, I've got it not quite right here. Try to get the point to the center, right? Then, got to make this edge here curve off. Without taking away the cutting edge. That's pretty good. And pretty close to the center, so I'll try it out on a piece of metal and see if it cuts. Might be a bit wide across the top there to cut without a pilot hole. Let me just... I've already done 2 drills. This one here is in between size. This one I had to use a pilot hole, that one I didn't have to use a pilot hole. So let me get... I'll put a pilot hole here and then see how that thing cuts. There, I've got a little pilot hole in there. I'll just see if this cuts. Yeah, that cuts. Oops, I gotta tighten the drill. Not enough hands, hang on. Yeah, that cuts right through there, hey? But kind of thin metal though. Whoops. And one-handed. There we go. That works. That cuts well. Okay, so that works better than the other way. Anyhow, there you go. Either way seems to help it a bit. Yeah, so this size here is like 1964. It's just above a 1/4 inch. And I've drilled that hole already, but I'll just show you that. And I just sharpened it that same way. Oops. Doesn't even need a, if I get 2 hands on it, it's all right. There we go. Whoops. Now I got to tighten the drill bit. hang on, we'll go through this again. Sorry about that. Okay, now that just goes straight through without any trouble at all. That works well. So if you have decent drills, you can sharpen them up. Yeah, okay. So I cleaned up this seatbelt holder thing. It's actually double metal there, and that's the original weld on there. So I made some plug holes here, so I'll weld that onto the new metal that goes in there, and then this will be bolted up tight, and I'll weld that again there, and that should work all right. That should be plenty strong for the seatbelt because it's original equipment, right? Okay. Anyway, I'll carry on now with, where am I? Back in here. Maybe I'll see if I can get that off of there, and then I'll cut this out and get a piece of metal that'll fit in there. Don't know where I'm going to start. That end? Yeah, maybe I'll start making structure up there. Save this for the last. How's that? Okay, this goes up here, out of the way. Okay. Yeah, got most of the bad stuff cut out of there. I think we're okay to start rebuilding now. So what will I do? Oh dear me. First off, I'm going to sort of cover this. I'll paint that little bit there up with some rust paint. And then I'll put a piece of metal in here, this little bit. And then this metal here goes to about here somewhere. Okay, let me get started on this. Hey, I've been forgetting about you. Anyhow, I've cleaned up this more or less. And I cut out this piece in here that was rusty. So now I made a piece just to fill in that top, like this right here. Oh, let me get that there. It'll fit on there, and I'll plug weld it onto that part down there, and that will give this strength back again. And then this will also, like there's a bit of rusty bit there, so I'll just like it'll go on here, plug weld down there, plug weld up there, and then that's a good start for this. Then this piece here, I need to make another piece that goes from here down to here kind of idea, but it ends right here. So I'm going to do that as a separate piece. Look, well, waiting for this to start. There we go. We're going now. So Don, say hi, Don.
Hi.
You missed the Don part.
Yeah.
Anyway, Don's here today. He's from up the other end of the island, and he's going to help us do some cutting on this. He's going to be a cameraman.
All right.
You can talk all you like. Don't worry about talking, because that's what we do. So then we got to cut this piece of metal to look like that right there. Can you see the guy?
Yep.
That? So this is how long it's got to be, approximately. We might make it a bit bigger than what that is, just because. There it is. So that's 6,100 millimeters, or whatever that is, right here. Not much. Then we go ahead and put on this famous device right here. Which just makes it so that this is a plasma cutter.
Okay.
And that, follow that, and it makes it straight. Turn on the air. Turn on the cutter. Find the ground. And this stuff here won't really hurt your eyes, but
Okay.
I always put
Yep.
glasses on. Something not right. Yeah, so anyhow, try again. That was my fault. I had the air turned off instead of turned on. We'll see if we can get any better. and easy. Now we got to clean that up a bit and we'll carry on. Yeah, here we go. Now we got to make some holes in it, right? So this little machine here is doing it, and my helper for the day is on the job.
That's a job work. Yeah. I'm trying to get space.
Yeah, I have. Anyhow, so that go along and make these holes for plug welds all the way along. I'll get up with you when we're putting it on the truck. Yeah, you're doing a great job.
How close do you want me?
Oh, anywhere there is great.
Okay.
I can zoom it.
Oh, wait a sec. It's filming me. It's seems to be backwards.
Oh, turn the camera around.
Oh, there we go. Jeez.
There you go.
That's a little better.
Yeah, that works. It's got a screen on both sides.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Yeah, so now we've made this piece and we're going to weld it on here. Plug welds all along the top, plug welds all along the bottom. Sometimes I can't see a damn thing. I gotta find a spot that's close here. Need to do this. Gotta get the weld right next to it.
You haven't mastered flipping the helmet?
Yeah. Well, it would work a while ago, but then it quit doing that.
Oh, yeah.
And then when you're working upside down and backwards like this, it's back underneath it.
Oh, there we go. I gotta flip it.
Hello, I'm down here. Can you see that?
Yep.
Yeah, so kind of left you abruptly in the alerts there yesterday. So I finished up, got this welded on here, just plug welds on the top here and plug welds on the bottom. Now I forgot to paint behind here. Oh dear, oh dear. I'll see what I can do about that before I go too much farther. And then next is this part here, sort of like the this lip here that the floor sits on. It squeezes in to 0 there, and then this comes down even for whatever reason, the way it is. So I'll make a piece that goes to here. I have to look at the other side. I think yeah, the piece has to go kind of around that. Figure it out, because this piece here, like that little tiny piece there, is what comes up to make this box here. But I think I'll make it so the box just meets on there. Maybe I'll just take that out of there. That would likely work. Yeah, so I'm working on a piece to fit in here. kind of like so, right? Kind of. Round about that, like that. So that has to be bent up a bit more there. This is right, the way it goes in there like that. And then the box piece comes out and meets this. So this has to come up a bit more. I'll just shrink that metal a bit more, make it come up using the shrinker. Then I'll cut this angle out on this to meet this, well, to about here maybe. Cut this off. Whoops, where am I? Cut this off here, and then fill that in, make the angle come in there, and that might work out okay. Then this part at the bottom here, I'm just going to use it for creating some strength down there below, where everything else is all sort of supposed to be together but isn't really. And I removed this, like this needs strengthening. That's what this is all about, maybe. Okay, so this has got to be shrunk up a bit more, maybe cut off about there. I'll show you as I get it along. Yeah, so here we go. We get some light here. Everything's dark in here. It's windy and cold outside today, so that's all the way I want it. I'll show you how it fits. And I painted the back side of it here. Just a quick rub of paint. Let it dry for a few minutes, and then I'll make some holes in it and do some welding. Yeah, so there's kind of what's going on. This piece here is coming in next. And then this wall comes across to here and straight down. Whoops. This wall here comes across to here and straight down. And then to make a box to fit into there, goes down to the bottom here, and then there's that funny angle on it to get up to here, which is, you know, coming along. Yeah, you might as well watch. I'll be a couple of minutes getting underneath there and set up, but be there soon. Maybe. Yeah, I was out looking for tools, so I hammered this in a little bit here. I just put a little bit of a tack weld right there and hammered this in so that it's up close to that plate anyhow. Let's see if we can get it welded on. A little more to go, maybe. Yeah, there. That ought to hold it together. Not very pretty, but I'll get the grinder out on this, and then down here where I've made a mess, I'll just slice that off a little bit because it's hanging a bit low. Now, next is well, first get it grinded up, and then next we'll do something else. Oh, I thought you guys were on, but you weren't. Anyhow, I grinded this all up, so it looks a little bit better now, and straightened out this. I hadn't had a mess here, but I figured fix that with a grinder. This is still, like, that'll get, when I put the piece across up here and down to here, that'll get tightened up. Anyhow, we'll just see how it goes. Okay, now I'm gonna start, whoops. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, now gonna start working on this bit here. So I cut a piece that'll fit right on there like that, and it sort of is the same. Where's that's upside down? How can you tell if it's right side up or upside down, hey? Yeah, that's closer there. So I'll just weld that on there, and then I'll put a piece underneath it because it's trying to make them both at the same time is difficult to get this curve on the top of it, eh? Okay, so we'll get that done. Yeah, there, I've got that fitting not badly now. I like it okay. That'll do the floor. Then this comes into here. Now I have to do a little bit of fill in here where I've cut it too much, and a little bit of fill in right there. But for the most part, I think it's okay. Now I got to make it, see if I can make the side for this side. I don't know whether I should get this welded in and then make that side. Maybe I'll do that because but then I can't reach to grind on it very good. So let's do see if I can make the side, and I'll fill in those little fills right there and there and there. Okay. Yeah, so now I'm going to put this in and weld this part in so that it's solid. And I've cleaned up underneath there so that I can get some good plug welds on that. Might have to cut that back just a bit more because it's catching on that bit there. Maybe a hammer would look after that. Yeah, maybe I'll let it be because I can then hammer it down and that'll be good. That'll be okay. So I've got this ready to go in here, like this. It fits actually pretty nicely. Then this piece here I'll use it right in there. Whoops! Just knocked it off the edge of the world. Oh dear. Yeah, so this piece I'll just put in like that. And that'll fill that gap and leave that little bit of a gap there because I want to perhaps put a flange on this, but haven't figured that out yet. Maybe I better just cut that back a little bit. I'll put a couple of tacks in here, then see if this will go down. How's that? And if it won't, then I'll cut that and come back and fix that. There, that's all pretty well welded up, so that'll be a good solid brace there now. Now I have to get this side here put on, and that'll be that thing done, and then I can start working on floors, eh? Well, no, I have to go finish up this end down here. Okay, anyway. Yeah, there you go. I think I'll leave it there for this week, and there's a very good helper there. And lots of work on the floors and on the body mount and things like that. Hey, and it was nice to have Don over here for helping out with the camera work, and he was interested in what I'm doing, and he doesn't live too far away, and so that was fun. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it all, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now. Yeah, October 31st, and it's a scary day at the beach today. There's a storm brewing somewhere, south of us, coming in, lots of rain later on today. And Hurricane Melissa is churning away out in the Atlantic Ocean, not, you know, a couple of 100 miles away, but it's creating some pretty big winds and a little bit of waves coming in. Now we've had enough rain to sort of fill up the pond, not completely full, but getting there. And more rain coming today, so likely tomorrow it'll be filled up. Anyway, be some windy noise out here, so be prepared. Yeah, water's a little bit rowdy. Not as wavy as I thought it would be, but it's starting to rain already, so I don't think I'll hang around too long.